You are 45 years old when the fog begins to lift over Sekigahara. Wet grass clings to your sandals. Armor straps bite your shoulders. Matchlocks crack beyond the low hills. The banners ahead belong to men who, not long ago, stood within the same political order. By sunset, some of them may be dead. Others may change sides. And if your side loses, everything you have spent your life protecting, your family, your income, your name, could disappear with it. But you were not born knowing that loyalty could be this complicated. You were born around 1555 in Owari province into a modest warrior household. Your father is no famous general and commands no great army. Your family has status and weapons, but not enough power to decide Japan's future. When a messenger from a superior arrives, the room changes. Adults stop talking. Orders are listened to carefully. Even as a child, authority is not an idea. It has a face, a seal, a banner, and the power to send your father away. Your childhood prepares you to continue the household. You learn discipline before you fully understand why it matters. Older hands correct the way you hold a bow or spear. A wooden shaft rubs your palm raw. You become familiar with armor, horses, and the weight of a sword at your side. You also see ink brushes and records, because a warrior must know more than how to strike. Still, the lesson that excites you is simple. One day, you will carry real weapons, march with real men, and prove your place. That day comes because Oda power is expanding. Stronger warlords are swallowing weaker rivals, and every victory creates new obligations for the households beneath them. Your father once left home when orders arrived. Now equipment is packed for you. The excitement lasts until the marching begins. An army is not heroic swordsmen waiting for elegant duels. It is mud, shouted commands, banners, men carrying food and powder, and officers keeping large groups moving together. Your body learns war's first rule before your sword does. Stay with your unit. By 1575, when you are around 20, that lesson becomes a matter of life and death at Nagashino. The battlefield does not resemble your childhood stories. You see prepared positions, wooden barriers, men with long spears, and matchlock gunners handling powder, match cord, and weapons that can kill from a distance. Firearms are no longer a strange curiosity. Japanese armies produce them, organize them, and build tactics around them. Then the firing begins. Smoke spreads across the field. The sound makes thought difficult. A man does not need to reach you with a blade to kill you now. He may be far away, partly hidden by wood and smoke. Later stories describe Nagashino as if gunners fired in perfect rotating ranks. The reality is less neat. What matters is organized fire, prepared defenses, and the realization that courage cannot stop a projectile. When fighting closes, your spear and sword still matter. So does armor. So does nerve. But the lesson is permanent. You survive because you follow orders. Keep your place, use the protection around you, and do not chase the kind of individual glory you imagined as a child. Around you, some men still fight with spears and swords, while others depend on matchlocks and field defenses. The battlefield has not replaced the old warrior with a new one overnight. It has made the old world more complicated. For the first time, bravery feels different from usefulness. Because you survive, you are sent to war again. The next surprise is how little of war looks like battle. Campaigning means guard duty, carrying supplies, fixing equipment, rain, and waiting near walls that refuse to open. During the long Oda struggle against fortified enemies such as Ishiyama Honganji, danger can be painfully slow. Damp clothing, bad sleep, sickness, and rumors grind men down without a dramatic charge. The enemy can hurt you simply by staying behind fortifications and forcing your side to remain. If you enjoy experiencing history from inside one ordinary life, subscribe to the channel. More worlds, wars, and lives like this are waiting for you. Now back to yours, because by now, home matters more than it did when you first marched away. You marry. Later, there is a child waiting for you. A small hand wraps around your finger while armor lies nearby. Suddenly, death means something new. As a young man, dying meant not returning. As a father, it can damage the future of people who depend on your name and position. Survival stops being only fear. It becomes responsibility. Before leaving again, you notice small things you once ignored. Who will manage the house? Who will speak for your family? And whether your child will inherit a secure place if you do not come back? Then, in 1582, the political world above you breaks apart. The first reports are rumors. Oda Nobunaga has been attacked at Honnoji in Kyoto, not by a foreign invader, not by a distant enemy, by forces led by one of his own commanders, Akechi Mitsuhide. Men wait for confirmation. Officers disappear into meetings. Orders change. Finally, the truth is unavoidable. Nobunaga is dead. You do not need to be standing at Honnoji to feel the shock. Your career and household service rested on a chain of authority that suddenly no longer exists. As a child, loyalty seemed like a straight line, family to superior, superior to lord. But what happens when the lord is dead and the men beneath him compete to inherit the future? Dying for a dead master may sound pure. Leaving your family unprotected does not. Toyotomi Hideyoshi moves quickly, defeats Mitsuhide, and becomes the strongest successor to Nobunaga's project. Your household continues inside the new order. From outside, it may look like another oath. From inside your life, it feels uncomfortable. You are still serving, still a warrior. But you now understand that survival sometimes means changing the person at the top while pretending the structure below has remained the same. The wars continue, but Japan is becoming more controlled. Hideyoshi orders land surveys and a famous sword hunt that helps separate armed warriors from cultivators. Registers, measurements, taxation, and status begin to matter in new ways. Castles grow into military and administrative centers. The world that once allowed blurred local roles becomes more organized. Your position becomes clearer but more dependent on the political system. You are gaining security by giving up flexibility. The great castles rising around this new order make the change visible. They are fortresses but also offices, storehouses, symbols of authority, and centers around which towns and retainers gather. In 1590, during the final campaigns against the later Hojo, you can see the scale of that change. Vast armies, supply lines, camps, and fortresses make your early campaigns seem small. At night, thousands of fires can make the encampment look like another city. For the first time, it seems the wars might actually end. You have spent decades learning how to survive a country at war. Now one ruler appears close to finishing the work. Then Hideyoshi dies in 1598. The pattern feels horribly familiar. Again, a powerful man disappears and alliances harden around competing centers of authority. Tokugawa Ieyasu grows stronger. Rival leaders gather against him. Your superior aligns with the Eastern Coalition, which means your household does too. You are older now. You already survived one political collapse. This time, when you prepare to march, your family understands the risk. Your son is old enough to watch closely, and that brings you back to the wet field at Sekigahara in 1600. At 45, you expect no glory. You check your equipment. You watch the banners. You listen for orders. Fog and terrain hide parts of the battlefield, and gunfire begins to break the silence. The Eastern and Western coalitions contain men shaped by service, rivalry, reward, resentment, and calculation. Somewhere across the field may be warriors you once would not have called enemies. The fighting grows. Units commit. Others hesitate. Then something happens that confirms everything you have learned. Kobayakawa Hideaki's forces turn against the western side. Men who expected support suddenly face attack. Banners change direction. Confusion spreads. The western position begins to collapse. You have seen this lesson before. At Honnoji, one commander's betrayal helped destroy your lord. At Sekigahara, political defection helps decide the future of the country. Loyalty is praised. Oaths and courage still matter. But after 45 years, you no longer mistake the language of loyalty for a guarantee when power and survival pull men elsewhere. By the end of the battle, you are alive. Your household is attached to the victorious side. Tokugawa supremacy now has a path forward. Around you, the battlefield quiets. Abandoned standards, broken equipment, exhausted men, and the dead replace the noise. This is the victory warriors have spent generations claiming to want, a victory large enough to make peace possible. Yet there is no moment when everyone simply puts down a weapon and becomes safe. Power must still be secured, rivals controlled, households placed, and old loyalties absorbed into the new order. And peace turns out to be another kind of test. Under Tokugawa rule, warrior society becomes more stable and more organized. For many samurai, service increasingly means castle-town residence, attendance, records, stipends, and household management. Your sword does not become meaningless. Your status still comes from the warrior class. But the skills that kept you alive at Nagashino or Sekigahara are no longer required every season. The change feels almost absurd. As a boy, you bruised your hands learning weapons because adults told you the future would demand them. As an old man, you spend more time near paper, seals, rice accounts, and official duties. Armor once kept ready for marching can remain stored. The warrior has finally won the peace, and now must learn how to remain useful inside it. By 1615, you are close to 60. The last major Toyotomi resistance has been crushed, and Tokugawa power is firm. Your household survived decades of war, changing masters, betrayal, and uncertainty. One day, the weapons of your youth pass into your son's hands. The same kind of objects that once represented adulthood, courage, and survival now sit beside something quieter, a writing brush. You still teach him to respect the blade. He is a samurai, after all, but you also know what your younger self did not. You spent your whole life learning how a samurai survives war. Your son may have to learn how one survives peace.